I never imagined the day would come when I would question both my marriage and my family at the same time. My husband started acting different, colder with me, kinder with someone else. The worst part? That someone else was my own mother. Before you judge, listen to my story. My name is Rachel, and this happened in a quiet town in Ohio. I had been married to my husband, Daniel, for 5 years. We weren't perfect, but we were stable, comfortable. At least that's what I thought. My mother, Linda, moved in with us after my father passed away. She was grieving, fragile, and alone. Of course I opened my home to her. I never thought that decision would slowly change everything. At first, Daniel was just being kind. He would make her tea, ask if she needed anything, help her with groceries. I actually felt grateful. He was supportive in a time when my mother needed someone. But then, small things started to feel strange. He laughed at her jokes more than mine. He remembered her favorite snacks. He started spending more time in the living room with her after dinner while I finished work in my office. At first, I told myself, "You're overthinking." One evening, I walked into the kitchen unexpectedly. They were standing close, not touching, but close enough to make my stomach tighten. Their conversation stopped the moment I entered. Silence filled the room. My mother quickly looked down. Daniel suddenly asked if I needed help with anything, something he hadn't done for weeks. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed the moment again and again. Was it innocent, or was I seeing something I didn't want to admit? Over the next few weeks, the distance between me and Daniel grew. He stopped asking about my day, stopped sitting beside me on the couch. But with my mother, he was attentive, gentle, present. The worst feeling wasn't anger, it was confusion. How do you even begin to question your own husband and your own mother? I felt guilty just thinking it. One night, I finally asked Daniel. I didn't accuse him. I simply said, "Do you feel closer to my mom than you do to me lately?" He looked shocked, then defensive, then quiet. He said I was imagining things, but his eyes avoided mine, and that hurt more than any answer. A few days later, I overheard them talking in the backyard. My name was mentioned. I froze near the door. Daniel said something I will never forget. "I feel understood when I talk to you." There was a long pause. My mother replied, "This is wrong." That one sentence confirmed everything I feared. There were no romantic actions, but there were feelings, and feelings can be just as dangerous. That night, I sat alone in my bedroom and cried. I realized something painful. This situation wasn't about betrayal alone. It was about emotional boundaries being crossed. The next morning, I spoke to both of them together, calmly, without yelling. I told my mother she needed space to heal, and so did we. We arranged for her to stay with my aunt. It was the hardest conversation of my life. For weeks, the house felt empty again. Daniel and I started therapy, not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted clarity. Trust doesn't rebuild overnight, and sometimes love survives if both people are willing to face uncomfortable truths. I learned something important. Love is not only about attraction, it's about boundaries. Emotional connections can become dangerous when respect disappears. And sometimes protecting your marriage means making painful but necessary decisions. If you were in my place, what would you have done? Would you fight for the relationship or walk away? If this story made you think, like this video. If you believe difficult truths should be talked about, not hidden, subscribe for more real-life inspired stories. And remember, sometimes the biggest betrayals don't start with actions. They start with silence.